Joining us now is a man who has sharpened the blade over the last 30 years.
Yep.
His record currently at the University of Alabama is 201 wins and 28 losses.
That's pretty good.
Is that good?
I think so.
7-time national champion. Ladies and gentlemen, a man whose team is in the college football playoff. Sorry about it. Head coach of Alabama, Nick Saban.
Yeah! What's up, guys?
Coach, how we doing? Where are we today? This isn't the standard office here.
It's not standard. We're recruiting, so we're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Just got here in the FBO and looking forward to visiting with you guys.
Well, we appreciate you taking time during your travels. So this is real. So college football. We're coaching football, and then when we're not coaching football, we're on the road recruiting. You're the greatest of all time. I assumed that you'd be able to FaceTime, Zoom, not have to be. You're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Let's go, Coach. Still got the fastball.
Yeah, got to do it, man. I learned a long time ago that I wasn't great at coaching bad players to play good. So the key to the drill is getting good players. So that's why we're here.
Okay. Well, we hope that your hunt in Chattanooga, Tennessee is a fruitful one. And if anybody was to have Coach Saban walk into their school and be like, would love to have you on the, how would you say no to that? I mean, I hung this thing up as soon as you signed it. I'm 36 years old. So anyways, let's move along here. Coach, you have the opportunity now because your team is SEC champions. Congratulations.
Yeah. Congrats, Coach.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You have the opportunity now to continue your season. And there's a new goal or a goal that you've had all along, but a new focus, which would be another national championship for yourself. There's been a lot of conversation about this whole thing and your team making it in there. Have you heard that? Do you have any opinions on it all? And how have you addressed it when other people have asked about it all?
Well, my responsibility and obligation is to our team. So I did the best job that I could to promote what we've been able to accomplish and winning, 11 straight games or whatever, beating the #1 team in the country in Georgia. And we're a different team now than we were earlier in the season. So that was my obligation to our players and our team, and I'm proud of them for the way they responded to it. I'm proud of them the way they played in the SEC championship game. But everybody needs to understand, and my phone's been getting blowed up from people who didn't get in, as if I'm responsible for that. Look, we've been on the other side of this. We've been on the outside looking in. We've been the team that didn't get in. We've been in the fifth place team. So we kind of know how it feels. And I actually feel bad about it because there really are a lot of teams this year who could make an argument to say we should be there. And I get that. And I feel great for our team. Our team's worked hard. I'm glad they have the opportunity to do what they have to do, play another #1 team in the country in the Rose Bowl. That's a great opportunity. They worked hard for it. But I also have compassion and feel bad for the teams that have an argument to get in the playoffs that didn't.
It's a tough setup. Power 5 is how they describe it, and there's only 4 spots. So it's a flawed system to begin with whenever it comes to potential fairness of champions. We're all happy to get to 12 team next year. I think you've had different thoughts and opinions on it all, but I think people forget that maybe you were a team that was left. Nick Saban, because literally your name is a lot of the. You think they're going to leave Nick Saban out of the college football playoff? It's like they have. That seems to get forgotten about. So I appreciate you handling that like an absolute gentleman there, Coach. Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, I'm curious about your schedule as far as your prep. Does it change anyway now that you're hopefully going to be playing 2 games compared to maybe the old system in BCS when we're just eyeing 1 game like a national championship?
Really, I think the first game is the most important because there's always a different. How many days do you have between games? And this year it's a 7-day turnaround. But initially, when I was younger as a head coach, I think we probably tried to practice our way to the game, which meant we had intermittent practices while we were recruiting and all that. And what I've kind of learned through the years is the best way to do it is have the players work out, have no, sort of technical practice type things. And then when you start to practice and get ready for the game. So we'll have 7 practices before Christmas, take 3 days off, have a regular week when we get to California. And then we got a 7-day turnaround this time. And, when we played Clemson, when we played Oklahoma and Miami, I think in 2018, and then we played Clemson out there, it was really tough. It was like a 9-day turnaround, but to get back from Miami, to be in Tuscaloosa for 3 or 4 days, to fly to California. So we learned a lot from that. And hopefully we'll do a little better job of getting ready for this game, flying to the West Coast than we did for that one, because we didn't play very well in that game.
I saw you talk a little bit about, growing up in the coaching ranks in the Big Ten, so the Rose Bowl obviously hold it in high regards and everything like that. This is a huge, massive game in the Rose Bowl. I mean, the college football playoff the games are going to be huge.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of. Are you telling your team this is just like any other game? And what are you relying upon from like the last 11 games, more specifically the SEC championship, going into these big ones with how you're talking to your team?
Well, I think our team still has a lot to prove. There's a lot of naysayers out there that think we shouldn't have gotten the playoffs. So, we have an opportunity to prove that we have to do that. And I really think that they know they're going to be playing a really good team. They just played the number 1 team in the country. They're going to get the opportunity to play the number 1 team in the country again. So I think their expectation of the quality of player that you're going to play against, what you have to do to prepare to play against that player as if he's going to be the best player you played against all year, is kind of the mentality that we used in the past. And I think it works in this scenario as well. So they know what the challenge is. And hopefully the key to the drill is to be able to focus this passion that you have and this energy that you have into positive execution. You got to have confidence and believe in yourself and trust and respect and your ability to do it, but also your teammates.
It'll catch up.
I think it's important to be able to do that and to keep that right mindset to be able to do that so you can play your best football when your best football is needed.
Yeah, and you've only gotten better this year. I think that has been the big conversation about the Alabama team is it's like every week you see actual growth. And it's like, here's the buzzsaw. That's why the Georgia test, I think, was a big one for all of us to see. What do you think of that team after you played them? 29 straight. They lose one game. They're not in.
Yeah.
Back-to-back national champions, they're not in. Like, that's a banana situation as well. Did you talk to Kirby after the game, and what were your thoughts on their team?
Well, I just talked to Kirby briefly after the game, and, but look, I think Georgia's got a great team. I think they're one of the best teams in college football. I don't know who should have got in, who shouldn't have got in, but I know it was a great game. It was a really competitive game. The players played hard. It was a very physical game. It was the kind of game that if you're at Georgia or Alabama, that, that's why you came there to play in games like that. So it was a great venue, the SEC championship game. So, I'm proud of the way our team competed. We weren't always clean in the way that we played in the game. We made some mistakes. There's some things that we could do better, and we want the players to focus on that. But we also want them to gain confidence from the fact that, that they did make plays, they did control the line of scrimmage, they did do some good things in the game that we need to build on.
Yeah, quite a momentum builder, I'd say, beating Georgia. Speaking of your team, Ty has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, obviously you guys aren't satisfied with what you've accomplished thus far, but I'm just curious, like when you look at this year's team, do you feel that like it's maybe, has this year been more special than most, just when you consider, like you mentioned, the naysayers? We were down there in Tuscaloosa after the Texas game and all the rhetoric after that with, Coach Saban's lost his fastball. He doesn't want to be doing this anymore. Or, this isn't the same Alabama team that he typically has. And then from that point on, you guys have just gotten better and better each and every week. And here you are now. Like, so obviously you'll have a time to reflect when it's all said and done. But in the moment, does this team maybe feel more special than some of your other teams in the past?
I think the big thing is because we got off to a rough start, the team had something to prove. So what's always been the case for us in many of the years in the past is there's such a high expectation and a high level in the beginning. It creates a lot of anxiety for people to try to satisfy these expectations, which takes some of the fun out of it. What this year's team has been is a lot of fun to coach because everybody was sort of out to try to prove something. So everybody was working, getting better. We had great team chemistry, a lot of positive energy internally on the team to, inspire other people to do well. And everybody was willing to put the work in and make the commitment to do the things that we needed to do. And I think one of the great competitive things that this team has showed is the resiliency they have to overcome adversity, which is what's helped us have some of the really good victories that we had throughout the season.
Yeah, winning in the end seems like your team does very well.
Yep.
And that's a toughness. That's something you have to learn, you think? Your team has had to learn that type of stuff?
I don't think mental toughness is something that necessarily everyone has instilled in them. It's something that you have to be willing to take on because to have mental toughness means you're going to have to make choices and decisions you probably don't feel like making. But because of what you want to accomplish and the spirit that you have within you, you're willing to make those tough decisions and do the things you need to do to be successful. And that's what our guys have done a good job of.
I love a good mental toughness. Hey, that's the most important part of life, I think, mental toughness. You agree with that or no?
No, I think it is, because you can have no great victories in life unless you can overcome adversity, some of which you create for yourself, some of it you don't create. You know, it's just a circumstance that you have to deal with. So to be able to sustain and how you sort of manage failures through mental toughness is really important, I think, to being successful.
Coach.
Nice.
Yep.
That was sweet. That was really good. Hey, that's a good word right there.
You know, adversity sort of breaks some people. Adversity makes some people great. And it all goes back to that psychological disposition, mental toughness, whatever you want to talk about, you know, to do it. But, you know, I really wanted to make one comment before you guys get out of here is, you know, being from West Virginia, I had like 25 people at the game, all Mountaineer fans, all love you.
Okay, good. That's good to hear.
All right, so that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, they showed me what you did before the game when you made your pick. I mean, you have to be crazy to do something like that.
I was excited to get it right there. So it was in that moment I realized you saw that, okay? And then the conversation in my head was, oh, does he like that or not? Like I was very intrigued to hear your thoughts. Yeah, dude, I didn't know there was that many people there either. It wasn't that packed at the beginning of the program, you know, and I had not turned around in a while. And when they showed that sky view and it was the entire convention center packed out, that was when it really started getting real. I'm like, okay, here we go. But, Coach, I believed. You know what I mean? I believed in your team, Coach. I did. I genuinely did.
I appreciate it, man. Really do.
Hey, no problem.
I do.
Good luck there in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Who are we recruiting right now? What are we looking for?
We're really not allowed to say because we're not allowed to publicly comment on anybody that we're recruiting until they actually sign. The early signing. December 20th, but appreciate you asking, but I just can't answer.
All right, well, whoever it is, you know what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, 7-time national champion in the hunt for an 8th. We appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Nick Saban. Thank you, Coach. Love hearing that about the West Virginia fans. You know, that could go 2 different ways, too.